Honorable speakers, dear guests and organizers, it's an honor to be here speaking to you on behalf of the Nicosia Turkish municipality and the citizens of the northern part of Nicosia. I would like to thank the organizers and the hosts for this opportunity. Of course, before we get into detail, I would like to once more remember the remarks of the Commissioner that we should have to pay attention that the island has one ecosystem, and we should have to remark in all our speeches, in all our remarks, because I think in all of the speakers, it looks like we sort out the environment problem, but we didn't. We will get into details. This is a bittersweet occasion for me, as we have all gathered here to talk about the crucial role cities should play in protecting our planet and our people from human-made threats and disasters. Yet the city I represent is excluded from this European dialogue, as well as various forms of support to play an active role in this momentous mission. I stand in front of you today as a mayor in his third term, still struggling to find resources to build fundamental public services and infrastructure essential for the current everyday life and survival of my community. Unfortunately, the ongoing Cyprus conflict is depriving the northern part of this small island of the chance and the international accountability to build resilient cities that can withstand the looming and potentially devastating impacts of climate change. Cities and local governments have long been recognized as epicenters of democracy and social justice. Today, cities are also being recognized both as major contributors of climate change, as potential key actors in reversing this global trend and protecting people from its impacts. Another increasingly common recognition, which is particular relevance to our context, is of the role cities can play in peace building. Academics and practitioners of both peace building and urban development are placing an emphasis on building safe, inclusive, and resilient cities as a vital component of building and sustaining peace, particularly in societies affected by or emerging from conflict. There is no dispute that climate risks are transboundary by nature. So our efforts to stop climate change or adapt to its effects, if they are to be successful. The world has been investing in transnational and transcontinental cooperation to facilitate climate change adaptation. It is very unfortunate and totally embarrassing that this is still not even on the agenda of those who hold the monopoly on official negotiations across buffer zone. Of course, Nicosia holds a very unique position in this context. My friend Yorgagis and I, we literally breathe the same air. So do our constituents as well. Our sewage, which we do our best to keep hidden underground, naturally flows in the same direction. The Pedios River, which has been the lifeline of ancient civilization at the center of Cyprus, flows across the center of the capital, regardless of which side of the buffer zone you are. If it was to float, it could have devastating consequences for Nicosians on either side of the buffer zone, regardless of their ethnicity, nationality, or immigration status. The legacy of bicommunal and cross-buffer zone cooperation left to us by Mustafa Akıncı and Lelos Demetriadis is very close to my heart and political conscience. They had overcome enormous political obstacles for a joint sewage treatment system back in mid-70s when the smell of gunpowder was still in the air. In the midst of an era where the continuation of the Cyprus conflict as is has become the new norm, myself and Yorgagis have worked closely and hard to ensure the sustainability of the common sewerage treatment system for the best interest of all Nicosians. Following the lengthy negotiations, difficult but in good faith, we have recently been able to sign an agreement for the joint operation of Nicosia wastewater treatment plant for another 10 years. Nicosia, where the busiest checkpoints are located, also holds a unique position as the epicenter of people-to-people contacts on the island. Cypriots have proven that they disregard the artificial borders and demand engagement with each other for social, commercial, education, and employment opportunities across the buffer zone. We have been demanding the opening of all new potential crossing points in Nicosia since 2015, to no avail. Unfortunately, Nicosia becoming a hostage of other checkpoints, demanding checkpoints still yet. We have been advocating together for the Pedios River to practically join the two communities across the buffer zone. While we certainly have cooperation underground, I strongly believe that visible cooperation and functional bridges above the ground at the city level will bring us closer to reconciliation and reunification. Finally, I would like to leave you with two European Court of Human Rights decisions, which I hope can guide our joint work in the future. First is the European Court of Human Rights decision in 2004 in Aziz versus Cyprus. The decision found that the doctrine of necessity could not be invoked as they violate the individual human rights of non-Greek Cypriot citizens, and the remedies of such violations should be domestically legislated. The second European Court of Human Rights decision I would like to bring to your attention is the recent landmark ruling against Switzerland, and where the court has ruled the governments are legally obligated to meet climate targets under human rights law. It is imperative that we, as representatives of cities, cooperate to combat climate change. It is our legal and ethical obligation to our citizens. In this context, it is also imperative that our respective central governments and leaderships not only allow this to happen, but also make it priority on their negotiations. It is the time that we all work together to invoke the doctrine of necessity, this time to facilitate our joint efforts to adapt our cities to the immediate impacts of climate change and to build safe, peaceful, sustainable future together. Also, I would like to finish with one wish as well. We used to always first track diplomacy to solve the Cyprus problem, but we need some other efforts as well. And I believe city-wise diplomacy will play an important role to reunify our country and to for the reconciliation as well. I hope this will make an input, and I will once more thank you for all organizers and the speakers for their input. Thank you very much.